welcome back to the Heroes Global Championship EU edition as we set up our final series of the day and, of course, the weekend. That's right, Caldor and I, we're leaving after today, and we won't see you for 4 or 5 days. Caldor, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
That's it. Simple and clean.
I'm still thinking about lore. I learned so much today.
You learned a lot today. His brain has been overpowered by all the lore. Thank you so much, guys, for tweeting him and letting him know how wrong he was.
No. My lore is like much more entertaining. Apparently, my F has really a thing for one of the two.
Illidan.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke earlier.
No, oh, Jesus. Can we go to standings, please? Like,
okay.
My lore isn't amazing, but like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I've got my Illidan. I go for Toronto.
Team Liquid is at the top here with a 2-0. And we'll be getting to witness here. Monkeys and Zealots, who are currently at the bottom of the standings, they both suffered a loss earlier this weekend. And we'll watch them face off today, actually, as they'll be looking both of them to get their first win.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to set us pretty much up for the rest of the phase 2 already. Who is going to take it here now? Now, the first time that we saw the Zealots play, they said afterwards that on the execution side, they still had a few things that they needed to change, where they just needed to be a little bit more on point on the same page, and that then they have a lot of potential here. Monkeys, on the other hand, they surprised us a bit with how much better they were than expected. Now, we didn't expect them to completely fall off, but they have been rumored to have lost a little bit of motivation there, to struggle a bit more to find into their own rhythm, and they actually showed up pretty strong and had a couple of chances to take a lot of games of their opponents. So today against Zealots is going to be, I'm really curious to take who takes it now, because I actually believe that this is going to set the pace for the next part of the phase until we are hitting the Western Clash. Which team is going to struggle and has to make sure that they're not falling into one of the crucible spots, and which team is going to maybe even have a chance to attack the top 4 here.
Well, let's try and get started here. Let's go ahead and check out the schedule for today. All the matches that you can witness as you continue to sit in your chair and enjoy all the drops coming your way. Leftovers and Team Dignitas started up the day earlier. Dignitas was able to get a nice 3-0. However, we will say that 3-0 doesn't paint the entire story, and Leftovers had some moments where they looked pretty darn good. As mentioned, Monkeys and Zealots are up next, but North America coming at you later.
Yeah, with Tempo Storm, who has to play now. Of course, they have a sub this time, going up against No Tomorrow here.
Do we know who the sub is yet? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I don't think
either.
there was anything released yet, but as far, we only know that it is a sub and not a full replacement for Psalm yet, but I don't know who the sub player is. I don't think that was revealed yet, but I might be wrong there. And then, of course, at the end of the day, Simplicity versus Endemic.
I just want to throw it out there that I am available this afternoon, and Tempo Storm needs to get a couple of victories today. I'll help you guys out. I got you. Unlock any role you want. I'm there. I can play Brightwing. I can play Lily. We got Ragnaros on
any role you want, as long as it's Ragnaros.
As long as it's right. You can go in any lane, man. Damage Assassin, you just go W build. You got to clear out the top lane, you go Q build. And you want to kill some tanks, you go the E build. Ragnaros, multi-purpose here. As we get set up here for our second series of the day, as we'll be having Zealots take on the Monkeys. And we've actually checked in with the players themselves to find out what exactly they think is going to happen in this matchup.
It's really hard to judge Monkey Menagerie right now. They said they want to not practice as much and just play HGC on the side. So I really don't know what to expect of them, but obviously you should still take them serious. Last season it was almost the same and we still lost to them. So I don't want the same happen that happened last season. So we're still going to take them 1% serious, and they can still bring out things. They still have great players in their team. So they should never be underestimated. We should win the series against Monkey Menagerie. That's at least our goal. I think we would be pretty sad if we would not win against them right now, because our ambitions are just higher.
I think that the Zealots has more potential than they did before. I think that primarily stems from the fact that Quacknix can bring some added stability and some added structure to the team. I think that his shot calling experience in Fnatic was testament to the fact that he's very capable at that role, and I think it's possible that he'll bring that to Zealots. So about our match against Zealots, I've been thinking about this matchup for a long time, but I think it's going to be a really easy 3-0 as long as we run it down mid, so yeah.
Run it down mid and 1v9. That is always a scenario when you look at the Monkeys.
Yeah, you're always going to get tricked a little bit at least.
Just a smidge. just a smidge there. Let's go ahead and go to battleground number 1 here.
I've also said that at the beginning, you know, when the shot pans up and you have like all the players in, Alex is missing. He's not missing, he's the big monkey in the middle. Did you see that?
The logo is actually his face staring into a webcam, and then they just took a picture and colorized it. I believe it.
He would be the first one to confirm that.
Yeah, he would, 100%. So Infernal Shrines will be our first map here, and so we'll be heading straight there. First time we went to Infernal Shrines for Zealots, they played a bit of an awkward composition. They ran an Avatar solo support on this battleground and
How
tried
did
to
that
find
go?
trades. It did not go well. Well, they had some decent starts in the beginning, but it resulted in a loss.
Yeah. I mean, from a perspective heading into this, you heard Chris talk about it. They know that the Monkeys have already said, the Monkeys are actually consisting of a team of players that all say, we are doing this, but while also being at university. So a lot of the players are actually now either going back to university or are already at university. So for them, it's not a complete full-time gig. So they have already said that this is going to impact their practice time to an extent. And Chris and the Zealots are very well aware of this. So their ambitions are a lot higher heading into the series. So for them, it's super important to show that in the gameplay too and really get a victory here now. And if they can't pull that off, that would be a pretty big setback for the Zealots. The Monkeys, on the other hand, there are still a lot of very capable players here, and especially, of course, Alex in that leader role is someone that just grinds endlessly. We know in his personal stream he spams out the games as well. They still have their practice regimen, even though it doesn't quite invest as much time as others. So you can't take them too lightly, and they have shown that they can really surprise someone very quickly.
I mean, they did it against Team Liquid, right? With the Zeratul.
Yeah.
Being able to get that victory, I believe on Cursed Hollow was the battleground. So we can definitely have some wild cards pop up from this team. Make, whenever he's able to get Genji or Tracer, can really shut down a team as well. And then you always can't forget about Crosby too on that backline between Phoenix, Gul'dan, Hanzo. He's got some A-star heroes he can play as well.
Yeah, taking the sweet time with the first ban though. Always something that puzzles me slightly when you see a first ban being delayed by this much, because you know the map already for a couple of minutes, usually talk that through, and they ban out Sonya. Now, the Zealots have shown an affinity for Sonya, no doubt about that. And on Infernal Shrines, we've seen a lot of early picks on Sonya. She has been seen in as a first pick in the 1-2, but now seeing her even move into a ban position is actually pretty interesting here. But it is Infernal Shrines. I mean, if there's ever a map where you want to ban out Sonya in the first ban position, it's definitely Infernal.
She feels almost unkillable around the Shrine phase when she's able to Whirlwind, work on that Shrine, grab the minions for you, of course get that Punisher moving in. You pair that with an Alexstrasza, things get a little risky for you if you try to fight them. Zealots will open up with the Hanzo for themselves here, looking for a pretty standard formation. Can build out the rest of their comp from there. Monkeys now have to consider what they want to move into. Is Blaze something they want to pick up here, or do they want to focus on Shrine control? Diablo is a hero that can be a strong pickup here. They actually go straight to Malf and Genji.
Yeah, Genji, they picked him really early the last time as well, and Malfurion. Might not quite be as hot as Illidan, but he provides a lot, and he has those heals available as well. Authority's Boy, therefore, an early pick for them. But the double pick on the other side. Diablo, he's sitting at a 4-0 in Europe, picked for the 5th time now. Hasn't lost yet. Great on the map. Blaze taken with him too. Fantastic frontline pick up immediately here for the Zealot.
Don't run away with that 4-0 and immediately think that you should start picking him up as much as you can. He has some battlegrounds where he's very strong on, and also some compositions they can be great in. But so far on Tumulus Battle Queen and this battleground, where you can pick him up and have control of chokes and corridors, that's where his strength is. And Diablo on Infernal Shrines, especially around the Shrine phase, is an issue that teams have to deal with. And as mentioned, we have a 4-0 for him right now.
Yeah, and I mean, that just highlights he's not really the main go-to tank, but he's definitely a tank that, if he fits into a composition, usually performs quite well there.
Yeah.
Now, we have seen a bigger priority on Johanna, Muradin, Garrosh when it came to picks, but Diablo, when he makes his way into a draft, has a pretty big impact. And we are, of course, only looking at a small sample size of one weekend, but he has definitely shown that after the rework, he didn't disappear on any of these maps. He lost a bit of the one-shot potential, but he's now more sustainable, and he can pull off a lot here. You can still go for combos around Apocalypse if you have any setup for that.
Sure.
Lightning Breath is more so the go-to though. But let's see how this is going to work out. I like the front line already a lot of what Zealots have here. The question for me is, how do the Monkeys react to it?
I mean, Lightning Breath Salvo has been a deadly combination since played a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Being able to get that slow and apply that to many members usually allows for you to wear them down. Zealots thinking pretty hard here about their ban. They decided to go ahead and go with a Leoric ban, just trying to make sure to keep that Drain Hope from not being too effective against both Diablo and Blaze.
It's a lot of wave flare that you have with Leoric in the first place, and then of course when you're talking about the Drain Hope, it's fantastic against Diablo in the first place. So that's really one of those moments where they already think about, okay, how do we keep the front line safe? How do we make sure that these guys are not going to be in too much trouble? I like the ban against Deckard, by the way, too. We've seen Deckard with a lot of zone control, and especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen, on Infernal Shrines, he has been picked a lot and done fairly well here, too. Especially, of course, when you're hoping to keep heroes just locked in when they are entering. Malfurion in the past has seen a similar process or thought process when the Roots are trying to just zone out opponents from entering the shrines through the choke points or escaping, placing the Roots behind them. But the Monkeys here, they have some of the zone control, but they definitely need something to burn Diablo down. Now, we've talked about Tychus a bit, and I think it could still be a choice here, but that's not what they're going for. Phoenix is the answer that they are enlisting for now. We have seen some Tychus play already by Fnatic actually against Team Liquid on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but in this case, Nuburak and Phoenix are going to be the weapons of choice.
Looking to try and control. That engage comes their way. Also Cocoon to try and stop Blaze maybe before they can blow somebody up. Between Gienix and Phoenix, they definitely do have that potential to do so. Gonna need a little bit more tankiness, I feel like, for that 5th pick, which we should be seeing from Alex there later on. Although Alex could play Phoenix if you really wanted to in the top lane. He'd just be a little bit too squishy. For Zealots on the right side, gonna be needing our support soon. What do you think about a Karazim here?
Personally, not really the biggest fan right now. I mean, I think it's not horrible going into a Karazim, but I'm not quite sure if I would really enlist in that. I would rather have a bit of more of a backline healer in their setup. I was also thinking about the damage that they're going to push out. I think Hanzo can always shift in terms of hero pools, and you can shift that over to Quacknix if you want to. That's the one thing where I wasn't quite sure on it, if they would really go for Greymane, because that's really Quacknix's normal hero. Uther taken instead of Karazim, I like that a bit more. Having the Divine Shield for Hanzo and for Greymane now as well. It's still one of these things. I mean, Quack's hero pool, or the heroes that he really emphasizes the most, is pretty small. That doesn't make it bad. He has heroes that have usually a high impact. He plays a lot around his Greymane. We have seen him on Genji, a few other heroes there as well. I mean, Junkrat in phase 1, Falstad. So he's a little bit more narrow with the hero pool, but it's still a lot of heroes, you know, where he can adapt a lot to what happens. Attacking him with targeted bans, for example, and picking some stuff away from him usually doesn't quite work out for you, just simply because the hero pool is just wide enough so that you can always deviate into something that adds value to the composition.
These heroes really allow for him to shot call too the targets that he wants. Greymane can say, I want to be on this target, let's die them, kill them off. Thrall comes in for the 5th pick here.
Yeah, the only thing why I mentioned it even in the first place is that it's still a bit, it makes them a bit predictable oftentimes, in the sense that you see a last pick coming in and you kind of know, okay, that's going to be Quack's hero. What's left? Genji's taken away. Hero is banned out. Does Junkrat fit here? Probably not.
Scared of Falstad here.
We are on, yeah, exactly. We are on shrines. Looks like a great bit.
So looking at these drafts right away, anything stand out for you?
I like Zealots draft a bit more.
I think I do too.
I think it's a pretty solid one from the Monkeys. I feel it comes to attitude and how they approach the first game, what we're seeing there. They have some tools there, no doubt about it, but from the draft perspective, I think the Zealots have an upper edge. I
think so too. I think the main thing that stands out for me is we have Make on Genji, and typically when he's on Genji or he's on Tracer, he can be a star in the match and kind of make those kills happen. And if Hanzo is to overstep, there can be a kill there. Next thing you know, Thrall's coming in with that Earthquake, and we're going to get a few kills, especially on Uther if he's lingering behind. But I think for the map in particular, even if you did take away the team names, I would definitely go with Zealots here. Having the control around the Shrine phase, Diablo, Greymane, Hanzo, Pokemon, Explosive Arrows, it's strong. That front line alone is just absolutely terrifying. Yep. It's crazy how strong they are there. With Diablo, once that he's completely stacked up, he's going to be a menace to deal with. And you have Blaze, who provides the bunker. And even in the worst case scenario, you have Uther still throwing out a quick Divine Shield there. So I feel there's a lot of tools that the Zealots can really use in this setup too, where it makes it difficult for the Monkeys to break through. We'll see how it's going to pan out for them. Thrall, Earthquake into a Salvo can also be a strong combination if you're looking over to the opposing team. The Monkeys do definitely have a team fight that can really unfold if the bunker is mistimed at all here from the Zealots. Now, let's get ready here for game number 1 in this best of 5 series as we head to Infernal Shrines. And over to the left side of the map, we're currently having the Monkeys with a Crosby on Phoenix. Maka is, of course, playing Genji here with Alex Pro G. Papa Monkey if you want so. On Thrall, you're seeing on the front line Rima Baller and Nuburak, and last but not least, Splendor, the new addition to the team from Malfurion. On the right side in the red, Robodoba on Diablo, Chris on Hanzo, Quacknix on Greymane, Zarmany to play Blaze, and Chad on Uther. For today, I'm going to keep an eye on Zarmany. I feel like in our first match that we had on Friday, Zarmany had a bit of a rough time getting picked out a couple of times. The rotations were a little bit awkward for the team, and felt like the top lane just wasn't fully delivering on what he needed to do. So being on Blaze here, hopefully he comes in with a fresh mind and is a little bit wary there to make sure not get picked off.
Now, of course, this is the first weekend after we're coming back from the mid-season brawl, heading into Phase 2, and there are changes on both sides. The Zealots, they lost AD RD, and they lost also their former tank player Mopsio. Now they play with Robodoba and Quacknix, who left Fnatic and joined them. And on the side of the Monkeys, we have Splendor coming in from Team Liquid as the Monkeys release Grand Paqueta. So, a couple of changes that definitely will have an impact for this, especially the shot calling aspect and the way how he directs the draft in the game from Quacknix on the side of the Zealots is something to watch out for. But also Splendor, how much is he going to add to it? He had a really interesting first match. He had a couple of moments where he was a bit far out and got punished for it, but then he also came in with a couple of really nice plays that allowed the team to get kills. So he's definitely someone that we need to keep an eye on here. But for him, it's also a bit difficult since every team that you join is going to have a different rhythm than your old team, and that can make a huge difference in your first few games, where your old team would have engaged, maybe a new team disengages, you step into the wrong direction for a second and get exposed there. So he definitely is going to find that rhythm eventually with him.
You used to have Assassin have your flank covered, you can call for help. Little small things can really just change the way that you position as a player.
The best example for me was when we were at DreamHack Tours, I think that was in 2016, and Alex back then just joined Dignitas and it was for them at the front line. And there was one situation where his old team would have moved in, but Dignitas, from the playstyle they had, just moved out, and Alex literally walks into 4 heroes and the rest of the team walks away from it. And that was just one of those things that it just happens at the start, where after a while you start being on the same page, you understand how the team reacts to everything, everybody knows what call is going to be made in such a situation. But at the beginning of something, this is definitely, this is impacting you.
Chemistry is everything. The Monkeys already getting a pretty decent push here in the middle lane, though, as they grab their mercenary camp and they clear out the camp that came in from Zealots. However, Zealots are to the bottom lane heading towards them, which does set up everyone to grab their night camps pretty early. Already, Monkeys here at the top left has grabbed theirs, and we're having a bit of a delay from Zealots. They have to deal with the middle side. There is a potential for a possible invade from Monkeys if they would like to move in the top right corner. However, being against Diablo and Uther, typically you don't want to go for that invade.
Yeah.
They may play it safe.
The biggest monkey in the game, Alex himself, is doing extremely well, by the way, on his quest tile. I mean, he's done already. Wow. 233 in the game. This is one of the fastest completions that I've actually seen on it. So extremely well done by him here. Now he can start poking away at the heroes, preferably, of course, against heroes like Greymane and Hanzo, trying to keep the hit point pool low a bit to open up opportunities for Genji to dart in and take him out.
One of the ways that he was able to get that done so quickly, too, is that Genji kept coming in the top lane to threaten the idea of ganking Zarmany, which allowed for him to set up the clear on the minions to finish that quest. So kudos to Make helping him out. Bit of a scuffle in the top lane, but here is where the story is at in the bottom lane, while the Arcane Punisher does spawn. Monkey's tied up here 6-6 against the Zealots.
Yeah, Crosby is also weaving the damage in at this point, and we're going to eventually see a rotation coming from the top lane if that is getting cleaned out. But right now, it's the 4 versus 4 down here, which is the most important one, and the Zealots are starting to take a small lead. At the top, Blaze is starting to find himself in a bit of trouble against Alex here. Needs to be careful, actually.
Explosive arrows, and Quacknix being able to clear up the low health minions.
Thrall rotates now.
He's coming down. Robodoba taking a little bit of damage here on the top. We are pretty darn close here. 24 to 26 in control. Thrall gets here first before Blaze. Wolf comes out, connects with Quack. He has to kite away. But Zarmany, he's looking for that jet propulsion. Should be able to run in. He goes in for it. Doesn't connect it. Actually slides on Alex Aprochi, who turns around and drops down some chain lightnings. But remember, he's low. He's being chased. He's able to get out.
Yeah, but they're about to get the Punisher. Nubarak is down, but that Punisher should end up in the hands of them. And they get the kill too against Quacknix. Greymane is dead. And that's a great start for the Monkeys here. Yes, they lose an Uberrock, but they get the counter kill, and they are now in a spot where they can start to push in here. Triggering, on the other hand, on the defensive side, the jump on the Punisher. Robodoba baits it over, and then they can immediately start on the defense here. But this is definitely a good start into the game for Monkeys here.
At least gets them a wall here. Punisher doing a decent amount of damage to this fort as well. Chris and crew finally will clean it up, but Monkey's got to be happy with that.
Yeah, and Splenda did really well in that last fight too. Once that we were approaching the final phase of the objective, we saw him just try and limit the escape tools on the side of the Zealots with a really well-placed group behind them. So he stepped forward a little bit and made sure that they couldn't just simply move out there. Alex actually connected the Wolf. The problem was that no one else followed up on the damage. They were just trying to stop them. But there was also another opportunity where they might have been able to even pick up a kill, but they prioritized the objective, and now they have a tiny little experience. So job well done from the Monkeys.
Tiny lead will be about half a level here. Zealots attempting to get it back as up there at Merc Camps, and of course took that lane in the bottom wave. Just lingering behind slightly. Level 7 talent coming in for Greymane, getting that Wizened Duelist here.
I actually think that right now, from if you just look at the two teams, there's a lot more pressure on the Zealots. I feel especially Chris can sometimes be a bit on the emotional side, and I think for him there's a lot of pressure where he's just saying, we can't lose to them right now. If we lose to them, then what does the season look like for us?
Yep.
What does Phase 2 look like for us? This is a team that we are supposed to beat, especially if we are going to try and push into the top 4, top 3 ranks to attend an offline event. So I think this is, from a pressure perspective, a really uncomfortable spot for them to be in, and you need to win the first map. And that map already starting to tilt slightly towards the Monkeys. If that increases the pressure, we could see some mistakes on the side of the Zealots that are pretty uncharacteristic, that could be exploited. Whereas on the Monkeys' perspective, there's very little pressure for them.
Yeah, that thought can be compounded when you think that your opponent isn't putting as much work in as you are too, especially in Scrim and such, with the rumors we've heard about the Monkeys and how they're of course focusing on their studies and such. And speaking of the Monkeys though, they continue to play well. 10 to 9.5 hit heroics before their opponent, even aggressively looking for a pick here as they rotate into their opponent's side of the map. No one for them to pick up here on the bottom, but in the middle, maybe they can get a Diablo. Crosby taking some damage here. Impale comes out. Pro charge should be available. There's Salvo too as Make goes in, puts some damage in.
If Alex would have connected the Wolf, that would have been a dead Diablo for sure. He barely misses it. They still commit to the Salvo and they nearly get the kill, but not quite. And that was of course a pressure play around level 10. It's one of the reasons why the Zealots didn't fight back. Didn't confirm the kill here. The cooldown that was burned by Phoenix also doesn't play too much of a role in the bigger scheme of things because they will still have it ready for the next objective phase. It's one of the reasons why they were willing to throw it out at that point in time. But still a bit of a spot where with a kill they could have put even more pressure onto the Zealots. But now we have 10 versus 10, and now things are starting to get a little bit dicey with the Divine Shield being ready, with Bunker being there, and we talked about that sustain on the Shrine for the Zealots, and this is coming into full play now.
Monkey's dive will have to be on point here with Lightning Breath and Bunker being available. Zealots definitely have the ability to prevent them from getting those kills that they want. We'll have Salvo up in about 20 seconds. Monkeys will be waiting for that, but they have their Earthquake available. So we'll watch Alex Proji, see if he can find that moment where he can get the flank that he wants to try and make sure the Earthquake is effective against multiple members. Monkeys immediately jump straight onto the Shrine here and jump up by 5.
Yeah, tiny lead for them. Phoenix Salvo is ready in a few seconds once more. So as we said before, one of the reasons they threw it out was that they knew they would have it ready for the Shrine again. There we go. But yeah, this is going to be the first 10 versus 10 fight, and already they're trying to see if they can maybe get a kill. Arrow comes and barely does not hit anybody there. That was a great idea by Chris after Zarmany set them up, but now all of a sudden it's a turnaround attempt. They're going straight for it. Divine Shield is saving Blaze. Salvo comes out. Romadova is low and he goes down.
They get the web on Chris too, so no damage can be equaled out. Quack had to kite back away, and Diablo gets cleaned up. Now, Diablo will be back, but he loses his soul, so he definitely will be much easier to pick off on the next engagement as well. Monkeys turn their attention over to the Shrine. They continue to take that lead as they go 22-6, and it looks like the Zealots are going to contest this. They leave Hanzo on the top to clear out the waves, but everyone else goes for experience.
Yeah, at that point it was just a great engage idea from the Zealots' perspective. They get the jet propulsion hit against 3, and then Chris wants to follow it up with an arrow, and it gets barely dodged. And in typical fashion, Monkey see, Monkey do. They see the engagement and say like, hey boys, we can pull that off as well. Turn it around, and Uberak jumps in, gets the stuns, and there's the kill.
I'm proud of you.
You like that one, right?
That was a good one.
Yeah, okay.
Monkeys push aggressively. They break through the gate here, and they go straight for Robodoba. Robodoba trying to kite away, will be able to charge, but he's getting pinned against the wall, and Rimmer is just chasing him down. Shad comes up with a stun to try and keep him alive, and it looks like he will be saved, but the fort's not so lucky.
This is one of those moments when you are already aware that your opponent isn't there with a full 5-man to defend, or at least doesn't match your numbers, so you can aggressively push behind the fort, and that allows you to get more value out of that Punisher. So they take the fort, they're going to take the wall as well, but they need to rotate down because we still have Quacknix with Greymane and Zarmany putting some pressure on. And we all know that Greymane in particular is just fantastic when it comes to structure racing, and you can see it right here.
Oh, but the web is up and available. Rimmer can force this. He can actually go in on Greymane and drop the web if he would like to. Impale comes out, helping out with the slow. Cocoon goes on top of Blaze. Ooh, right before the bunker comes out, though. Zarmi's able to dodge down on it, buying some time for his teammate. Quack's trying to get straight to the 4 here. Zarmi running to his teammate in the top right corner. Goes for the jet propulsion, but here's a Make. So Zarmi actually dies, but Quacknix is able to get out.
Great dodge on the Cocoon here. That was actually really well done. And also Remaballer not connecting with a single one of his stuns as Quacknix jukes him out completely. They still get the kill though, as Alex comes in, he just says, not on my watch, bro. Drops the Earthquake, no chance of getting away there any longer, and that's another confirmed kill with 3 kills now against 1.
And a 4 taken down. Might be another here. It's kind of low. Make, does he have his ability to go in? Oh my gosh! The arrow from the top lane, and Quack turns it around with the go for the throat. Genji's hurting after that one.
Chris just sitting there and saying, boys, we're not going to lose to the monkeys. That ain't happening. And comes in, drops the arrow. You shall not pass in the turnaround there. The Divine Shield is on Greymane immediately. And that's the kill. Great return kill there. Very well done by the Zealots. And they are now starting to close in and even attempt to steal the camp away.
Ooh, jet propulsion comes out though. Root slowed him down. Zarmi finally connects it. Rimmer will have to escape. Wolf comes out to get a little bit of damage, but the camp is taken by Zealots. Robodoba in a bit of a risky situation, has to kite away. Needs to be careful though. Coon comes out as the monkeys want to fight this. Genji's rotating from Hearthstone. Can he get over here and find Blaze?
Yeah, they're gonna get him. Easy kill. I mean, they gave up on him already.
Yeah.
They just moved away and they said, guys, we don't have anything. They have their cooldowns ready, we don't. We need to move out. There's no Divine Shield for us. We don't have the Arrow Force stun. There's no setup. So they just moved away from it. And the monkeys just answering in kind after they just lost Genji. He's now back to business. But in that 5 versus 4, they're getting the most out of it. They're pushing into the middle and they're taking the fort here. They wait for their own minion wave to soak up the shots of the fort itself. And then it's an easy structure kill.
Without no Blaze, very difficult for the Zealots to fight this back. Whenever Robodoba goes in, they want to have that follow up the jet propulsion into a bunker just to make sure if Diablo gets in trouble. So that fort definitely being taken down. Monkeys continue to soak well here as they move into 15.5 on their way towards 16, and they'll be able to get 16 before that Shrine Fade comes in. So Zealots will once again have to consider the idea of just giving up the Punisher, maybe take that fort in the bottom side to get experience.
This game is not quite going as well as they were hoping for, and this is starting to probably gnaw on some of them a little bit. You can see that especially Chris is looking for these plays. We talked about that arrow coming from the top and connecting perfectly. He's going to have to pull off another one of those, because right now they are lacking on that extra talent that the monkeys are going to get any second. 16 talent here is just such an important one. And they might be able to push in other lanes. We just talked about Quacknix on Greymane being able to raise down structures quite easily. So maybe they can play around their opponent a bit. But the monkeys should have an easy time going for the third objective of the game.
I mean, that's the good news for Zealots. If they have that Dragon Arrow on Thrall, Genji, Phoenix, and they have Greymane jump in with a go for the throat, they should be able to delete that target. They are pretty squishy backliners. So Zealots will be looking for that, as you already mentioned. But for now, they're looking for that 16 first. They want to make sure they can have the experience here to go toe-to-toe against the monkeys.
There's another problem, of course. Someone will have to deal with that top lane camp, and that's where Blaze and Hanzo are now both headed. But yeah, the monkeys are not giving up too much time. They also know, of course, that there's only half the level that the Zealots need for 16. So go for the Shrine. They start to take a great lead here, and it's very unlikely that the Zealots are going to be even willing to contest it. So we're going to have that objective, and then the main question that still remains is how much can the monkeys get out of it? But with the 16 talent here, we also have adjustments made. And I especially like that we're now having Alpha Wolf taken on level 16. We talked a little bit about how oppressive Diablo and Blaze can be at that front line to burst through them. And if you have Alpha Wolf, then especially with his level 7 talent, with the Ancestral Wrath, Alex has quite a bit of burst potential.
Yep, the 3% target maximum health damage is great, but also the increased duration of the Wolf allows for you to lock down a target a little bit longer. And of course, with it being an AoE, if you can hit multiple targets, that's always great. Monkeys push in the middle lane. They want to be as aggressive as they can here. With the camp grab
there we go.
Counter pressure on the top, they'll have to deal with that soon. Robodoba gets a push against Genji into the wall here. Quack goes in. Here is a salvo. Bunker also being used. Monkeys able to survive through the aggression from Zealots, but Zealots are starting to wither.
Tranquility immediately popped by Splendor. They're going deep. Robodoba is down as we see Alex just establishing his dominance as the Monkey King moves in and drops them. And now they're going for the keep, ripping it to shreds. And they're looking even for the core potentially. Shat gets stunned. Here comes the follow-up. And all of a sudden, we're looking at a second kill.
Good jet propulsion turnaround there from Zarmi, though. Quack Alex may be able to get this kill. He gets it, but gets rooted before he falls. Ooh, able to dash out. Uther trying to keep him alive. Even going straight to his keep won't be enough, though, as the monkeys are able to secure a kill. But Chris and Zarmi together still stand, and they'll dissuade the monkeys from pushing into the core.
But they got more experience for this now too, and now they have, of course, a chance to snowball this 220. But first of all, they need to deal with the top, and it looks like the camp will deliver another structure into the hands of the Zealots that would also give them more experience again. But from the monkeys' perspective, this game is going especially great. I mean, like, they have the keep down, 7 kills against 3, doing really well with the engages too. It's honestly impressive. It's honestly impressive how well coordinated they are, considering that they freely admitted, hey guys, we can't invest as much time as we used to in the past. We tried several times to establish ourselves as a top team. It didn't quite work out. We're just now here for the show. We're going to do our best right now with the resources that we have. And to be honest, they're playing better than ever.
They are playing well. I mean, it might just be a high-level play from them, knowing that whenever they have pressure, they seem to falter. So they decided, you know what, this time we're not gonna think about anything. We're just gonna play.
Pressure is honestly an issue, and there are several teams that have shown that in the past. It has been a continuous talking point for us here with teams like Fnatic. Then when they're not under pressure, they perform better, and I think the same is true for the monkeys as well. And currently, they're just doing their thing. They're playing their game, and they're doing very well with that strategy.
Meanwhile, Zealots, while they are hurting, they are definitely not out here. Middle wave is very easy to clean up for them. Catapults, as long as they can keep them on the side of the map, will be great. With the Shrine being on the bottom side, they'll be able to split off and clear that out if they need to. So they still have a chance here, only a level behind as the monkeys continue to soak forward level 20.
And let's not forget, monkeys have done very well in the previous series too, but oftentimes in the late game you could have seen a few moments where they got a bit more shaky. And when with increased death timers, every single mistake that you make gets heavily punished by your opponent. Now, we have Zealots being extremely aggressive, and the reason is that they know they want to fight now before level 20, whereas the monkeys are just sitting there and saying, as long as we don't fall, as long as we don't die right now, we're going to be great in the next objective because we have our level 20 ready. So let's try and make sure that our opponent doesn't get a fight out of us until we have that Storm talent, and then we are going to be willing to fully commit to this. And Genji at the top lane is actually getting them the experience now that they need.
Yep, working on that 20. Can even try to grab this turret too. It's been damaged from earlier pushes. Zealots actually go for the fight in the bottom lane. But with Tranquility coming out and some healing from Alex and Proji, he is just fine. Drops the Earthquake too. Zealots get delayed, so they go for the aggressive play, use a couple of heroics. Sadly, they cannot grab it, and they'll have to back up.
It was a pretty even trade in heroics. Not quite, it was 3 for 4, but it's definitely something that's going to give the Zealots a chance of going for this right now. But the level 20 talent is there, and now the question remains, do they just accept that they're going to have to fight this and say like, okay guys, they just use a lot of cooldowns, we can still make this play, but it doesn't really look likely. Zarmi in particular is already extremely low, gets stunned again, but here comes the flank as Robadova moves in, Bunker is on the ground. It's a bit of a bait here, as we have Alex moving away, but gets stunned out again, and the Lightning Breath comes through and takes him down.
Able to get some heals though. If they can take out Zarmi, the monkeys will be able to have a nice 4v4, but Zarmi is able to retreat, so Zealots are able to get the kill, and now they have a number advantage. All they have to do is get healed up a little bit. Zarmi working on that now with the help of Shad, and the Zealots hold. In fact, they even look to grab the Punisher.
History repeats itself here. Punisher is taken, and in the late game, the monkeys are starting to struggle a bit. Alex nearly escaped, but he died in the end, and that was the moment when the Zealots could not only take the kill, but also the Punisher. And now, of course, we're actually seeing Genji sneaking around here in the back.
Thinking about going for a backdoor.
I think he's just going to try and put the catapults into a good spot. Exactly. Backdoor a little bit, force someone to retreat here, and together with, because they know that their opponent ideally wants to end now, even though they don't have 20 yet. But Greymane was forced back, and Greymane is a huge part of the push.
Genji should be able to leave though. The strike will let him get out of here. There we go. Uses it, waits for the go for the throat just to make sure that it cannot be chased. However, Phoenix in the middle getting caught out by the rest of the Zealots. The heals are helping here. Crosby's trying to retreat into his keep. He turns around, gets some auto attacks there to try and grab that shield, and he's going to be able to get it. The keep still stands here. It's giving him protection.
And he has
Zealots have gone too far.
The Zealots have definitely gone too far. The Divine Shield is already Robadova. The keep is still alive. But now it's time to chase here. Genji's up at the top. Punisher might still finish off the keep, but there's no 20 for the Zealots yet. And they lost a few points on the core now too. Good defense by the monkeys, really good defense. It's going to end up with a 20 versus 20 game in Talons, but that wasn't too shabby from the monkeys. A good defense, a lot of it also prepared by Genji, who threatened that core attempt and forced one of the heroes back. It had to be Greymane, and now we're in a setup where monkeys are still in the lead thanks to the keep they destroyed in the mid lane.
Aggressive play there from the Zealots. Lucky not to get caught out there, especially being between two keeps. The Punisher.
I'm
grabbing
more
the
so
shots
than
with him.
anything else impressed that Roba didn't fall there. The
Yeah.
Divine Shield came out, but I really thought that the monkeys would try and chase that. I actually expected Nubarak to go in, drop a cocoon there, and try to just force a fight.
Yeah, lock down a target, and then suddenly you can push in the middle lane, maybe get a win.
The problem was the Punisher was still alive, so I feel the big risk for them would have been engaging into a battle, then Greymane comes in maybe a bit faster than Genji, and then the Punisher jumps in, sets a stun up, and all of a sudden it turns around against you.
Ooh, Robodoba trying to get a catch here. Rimmer with the last second impale keeps him alive. This keep is going to possibly go down here. Now Zealot's going to try and siege it down. They can use Hanzo, Scatter Arrow, try to make sure to hit the heroes, but also drop his arrow and occasionally try and choke that down. The Maka on the side though, Zealots have to respect that. Arrow comes out, oh, but it whiffs again. Alex Aproji turns around, drops some damage here. 5 seconds for Earthquake, but X-Strike is up.
Robadoba is being attacked, and the Lightning Breath locks him into place here now as well. He's starting to get low. Earthquake comes out, and we have barely the escape of Rimmer Border. Cocoon also already being used here as they're trying to chase someone. Can't really get that done, but at least they take these waves down and start to clear the camp. But a good jet propulsion from Zarmany is nearly setting up another engage by the Zealots.
But the Monkeys have defended enough to where Zealots actually can't get here and grab this keep yet. With this minion wave, they're hoping to get through, but the Monkeys, they are standing firm. They are not allowing this push to really unfold for Zealots.
Someone has to move to the top lane though. That's a massive wave that is building up for the Zealots here. But it looks like they're trying to maybe get a kill on the retreat of the Zealots. Divine Shield is still up, and that's a problem, because with Greymane in play, if he at any point gets a turnaround and you get the Divine Shield on him, he can confirm that one kill, and that's all that you need in this situation.
And you know Quack wants it. He is willing to dive forward for that kill. Now, that minion wave you mentioned is in the top wave. It's getting cleared up by turrets, but it is putting some damage on that minion wave. Zealots will have to deal with a push that is happening in the middle lane soon, as catapults are starting to group up, but they've got time.
But that was Quack's call 100%. It was 100% him saying, guys, listen, we retreat. If one of them oversteps, we turn around and go for an insta-kill. We go for the engage. We're going to jump on the target. Divine Shield has to be ready when the stuns come out so that that doesn't happen, and then we go for it. So that was exactly what was going on there. Now, on the other hand, we're talking again about a 20 versus 20 fight as all the attention focuses onto the top lane where the next shrine is activating in 10 seconds. And this has become an extremely close game. The Zealots make the right move. They push out the mid lane so that the catapults are not going to threaten the core too soon. But this is now all about that last fight. This Punisher is very likely, or the fight over the Punisher itself is very, very likely to end this first game.
Yeah.
And both of the teams could take it here.
Zealots, it's imperative for them to get this here. More so than Monkeys. Monkeys at least have the ability to guide it down to the middle, but however, losing more heroes would be a kill. Hang on here. As Arrow comes out, hits Rimmer. Alex approaching gets stunned, but it doesn't matter. Cocoon connects. Salvo hits on the back line.
Divine
Shield used on Greymane.
And we have immediate Earthquake now utilized as well. Tranquility comes through. They're going for Diablo. Lightning Breath comes out and the bunker is on the ground. Crosby needs to be a bit cautious, but they're trying to burn down the bunker as fast as they can. And Zealots are rather low at this point. Again, a couple of hits coming from Crosby. This is going back and forth here. A ton of poke coming from Alex in particular with his chain lightnings.
Chris is doing a really good job, though, of not allowing Crosby to get his shield back. See, he's poking him with a scatter arrow. Crosby finally mounts up and backs up so we can get a little bit of those shields in. The rest of the team continues to get healed up, but Robodoba, he's done. He goes in for an engage, tosses over Thrall. Alex Aproji is on this back line, and he has to bolt away.
Here comes once again the attack though. They're trying to go for Zarmany in 8 seconds until bunker is up again. Tranquility once more comes through here. They're starting to push this in. Shad is in trouble. The bunker just barely able to save them. For how long? The first kill against Zarmany is just around the corner, and they get it. They take him down. Shad could also fall here, but it's Greymane who dies first. The third kill confirmed as Uther dies, and the cocoon has already been set up. Remabola with a bit of an optimistic stun here. Great arrow by Chris, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
That fight was so long that Chris was able to use 2 Dragon Arrows. Lightning Breath comes out, trying to burn someone down. Another Lightning Breath comes out. Diablo trying to do what he can, but it looks like that will not be anything that can get done here, as Zealots will lose a total of 4 members. Diablo's back with no souls, but look in the middle. Already catapults here on the core.
You're absolutely right. Catapults are already locking on the core, and the shields are already falling here as we see the Monkeys moving in. Great fight there. Nearly every hero got 2 ults off in that battle. That was absolutely crazy. Redemption on the side of Uther, bringing him back. One of the reasons why he was targeted last. Here we have Diablo falling, and that's not the only thing that falls. The core also goes down, and that is the Monkeys taking game number 1 against the Zealots.
able to grab the kills there. That late game was pretty outstanding between both those teams, between Bunker, Divine Shield, and of course Uther providing that armor. There was no way for them to fall on their side, but on the opposing side, Malfurion, Splendor in particular, bringing out that Tranquility. I mean, look at his ceiling numbers here, 120,000.
Yeah, definitely. The tranquilities that came through from Splendor were fantastic there. Also, the double bunker in the last fight by Blaze. They nearly killed him, and just in time, the bunker came back, he drops it a second time. He's still low, and they burn it down very, very quickly. And that really helped then to confirm the kills. They get Greymane with it too. The Divine Shield had to be used in the earlier engage already on the Shrine itself, so there was no safety here for him. But yeah, Monkeys, they actually pull it off. They take the first win. And again, I really think that this is going to be one of those moments where on the Zealot side, everybody is... I don't want to say freak out, that would be a little bit too much, but where everybody is already having this little voice of doubt in their head and like, oh my god, we just lost the first map. This is the team that we were pretty sure we have to beat, we need to beat, and now we're behind. And that can force mistakes later on. And if that happens, like shaking this situation off is not going to be easy, and they have to somehow do it because, as we said before, this series is going to set the pace for both of the teams for the remaining part of Phase 2 in 2018. And it's literally, okay, what happens around the Crucible? Who can maybe contest an offline spot? They're not going to be happy about this first loss.
But with that being said, that's another reason why they brought in Quacknix, right? This is where Quacknix, as a leader, needs to come in and say, all right, you know what? It's fine, guys. We lost game number 1. You know, my bad on a shot caller or something. You know, put that blame on himself a little bit and say, listen, guys, we've got this. Just rally the team together, move into game number 2. This is a team that we can totally beat. And to be fair, there were moments there where they could have gotten a couple of kills or at least a victory. It's just that you look over to the Monkeys, and in the bottom left, they just had so much patience, so much resilience. They never allowed that pick to come in. They protected that keep as much as they could. They had the smart play of putting Make in the middle of the map there to pull somebody back to threaten that core rush. Little plays like that that allowed for them to be in a commanding lead, and that's kind of hard to fight against if your opponent is playing perfectly. So going into game number 2, they just need to make sure that that opportunity is not presented to them.
There were definitely a couple of really cool moments, especially when we look towards Chris. He had some arrows that were just fantastic. They connected with 2 or 3 heroes. And we come back a bit to that first engage up at the top lane, where we actually saw on level 10 Zarmony with a great jet propulsion into 3 heroes, stunning them out. And then the arrow from Hanzo comes out. And Chris has nearly hit every single hero in this entire game. But that was the one ult where he didn't connect with anyone. It was actually unbelievable because that arrow basically weaved past everybody. And I looked at it and was just like, okay, they're trying to move out, but it's going to hit that guy. Okay, if I pass. But the other guy is definitely going to be hit by it. And it just doesn't connect with anyone. If that arrow connects with 1-2 heroes as they were clustered, that fight would have been a complete stomp. But we see the dodge coming in from the Monkeys, and that move really brings them into the spot where they slowly start to snowball. It was a great game.
Well, as we continue to watch these games, you guys